During this offseason, the Dallas Cowboys are going to have to decide whether they want to keep quarterback Dak Prescott or try to find another option. Now, this is a good season to get rid of him because for sure they have some options during this offseason. They can get a good quarterback in the draft. The draft is absolutely stacked with quarterback talent this year with Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Kyle Trask, Mac Jones. There are a ton of other big names there. Justin Fields, another great option for them. And for sure they can get some quarterback talent in the draft. But also, there's also a great free agency coming up this season. There's going to be some quarterbacks that are going to be likely on the move. Mitch Trubisky, not a great quarterback, but he is going to be probably finding a new home after the season. And the Dallas Cowboys have options. Now, Dak Prescott has been completely disappointing over the last couple of years. I understand that he did get injured this season in week 5, but they were 1-3 up to that point. They really showed no offensive skill and talent. Their offense was completely stagnant. They had taken losses to teams that they probably should have beaten. Now, the problem isn't entirely Dak Prescott. I understand Mike McCarthy, not a great fit there. I think that obviously Ezekiel Elliott's not having his best season that he's had ever. He's really been underperforming this season. He hasn't been the player that he once was, and I don't know if he can get that back on track or not in the future. But this season, they have just been an absolute train wreck. Now, in the draft in 2020, they drafted CeeDee Lamb, which was a very questionable pick, if you ask me. I know that he is a great player. He is fantastic, and he will find success in the NFL. In the future, but the problem was that their defense still took a huge hit. They needed a guy, they needed a defensive tackle, they needed some secondary players. They're so strapped down in cap, like they're paying the offense so much money that they're having some issues with the defense. They're having some issues putting some better names on the defense. Now I know they have some great guys, Leighton Vander Esch, a very good linebacker, very underrated. They also have a couple guys in the secondary that are pretty good. I think Awuzie is another one of those fantastic cornerbacks. But there are some holes there, and their defensive pressure has been terrible this season. They have not been good at all on defense, but their offense is also an issue. But if they would pay Dak Prescott, they need to keep it very, very low because they're going to use that ankle injury as leverage. We already know that's going to happen because they're not going to pay him too much because of that ankle injury. But they need to say, here are the numbers, here's the success that the team has been having in the last couple of years, and here's what you have been doing to affect these losses and wins. And they need to say, here's what we're willing to pay you. We're not going any higher than this. You can walk or you can accept this. Because for sure they don't want to pay too much and just completely spend no money on the defense, because that is going to possibly happen. That was going to happen this offseason. They thought they'd get away with having such a good offense that their defense wouldn't count, just like the Kansas City Chiefs have done. Where their defense isn't quite as good. Their defense is definitely bottom half of the league, but their offense is so stellar, and they've put up such great numbers that it doesn't matter. They completely offset, and the offense just gets the job done, gets the work done. But the Dallas Cowboys did not have that. Jerry Jones gave Dak Prescott absolutely no reason to fail. He gave him one of the best offensive weapons in the league. Ezekiel Elliott, he can run. He's definitely going to make defenses worry about the run, maybe not play the pass quite as well. He can be a receiving running back. He also has one of the best receiving corps in the league. Michael Gallup, underrated. CeeDee Lamb, a fantastic receiver as a rookie, and he is going to have some great years in the NFL. Amari Cooper, obviously an established top 10 receiver. And he's not having the best season. None of them are, but that's just because the passing game has been terrible. Now, Dak Prescott also, I think, is going to have to find a new home, but they're not going to pay him too much, but I think that's going to be the Bears. Now, I know that he has some future. He has a future in the NFL for sure. There will be a starting job whether or not he decides to stay in Dallas. But if he goes, I think it's going to be the Bears. They do have a placeholder if they don't want to do anything this season. Andy Dalton he's a decent quarterback. Like, he's kind of one of those average starting quarterbacks. He's going to probably start next season if they don't make any moves. I don't see Ben DiNucci or Gilbert taking over that job, but he can be a placeholder for them if they want to wait for the next draft in 2022, or they think that this guy's going to be a free agent. Like, they have options, and they can wait a couple of years, but their franchise is definitely in a state of winning. Their offense definitely wants to be in a state of winning, and they can do that by adding a quarterback. That is the last puzzle piece that they need. Obviously, they do have a bit of a gap at offensive line. A few years ago, they had one of the best offensive lines of all time with Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, all of them. They were absolutely fantastic. But since then, they've kind of fallen off with injuries, retirement. Like, there's been some issues there, and they definitely are still having, they're still in the rebuilding phase of their offensive line, but with the talent they have, that shouldn't matter too much. Kansas City Chiefs, again, not the best offensive line ever, but they make up for it with, like, insane, like, their offense is just incredible, and it makes up for any other holes that they have in their lineup, and that's why they're able to pay Patrick Mahomes $45 million a season. But if Dak Prescott wants those kind of numbers, and he asked for them during this offseason, this last offseason, then for sure he's going to have to go elsewhere, because the Dallas Cowboys are probably not going to pay that, and I don't see Jerry Jones being interested and paying over $20 million a season. I would say that they're going to land him at $15 million if they keep him, but likely I think he's going to be shipped off, and I think likely it's going to be the Chicago Bears. He has not put up winning seasons. He has not been good. His numbers have been terrible. The Dallas Cowboys have been struggling, and for sure they are in a win-now phase with their offense. And if they can add some talent on defense, I can for sure they can dominate a very, very bad NFC East division. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below what you think is going to happen to Dak Prescott in the future, where you think he's going to go, or if you think he'll re-sign it for how much money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.